we got to deal with AEW Dynamite, Fright Night Dynamite, a bunch of fatal four-ways and other assorted mess. This is going to be short. Usually when I say it's short, sometimes that means it's going to be 20 minutes. I'm going to try to do this one in under 15. There's only one thing on the show that I actually enjoyed, and that was the main event. Fatal four-way, Ricochet, Lashley, Hook, Samoa Joe. Hook stands out like a sore thumb. What the hell was he doing there? I figured at some point somebody's got to lose. That's his only reason for being in this match. Earlier in the night, he talked about being out of place and saying that he's going to make it his job to make sure Samoa Joe doesn't win. He failed that job. He failed that job magnificently. In fact, Joe beat him to win the match, which I'm not surprised about. Hook still looks like he's 16. I don't get it. Some fun stuff between Samoa Joe and Lashley here. Ricochet's agility, his bumping, his stooging. He's actually quite good. You know, this heel turn has done a tremendous amount of... it's been a revelation for Ricochet. It allowed him to show a lot of physical charisma too, which something that he struggled with, I think, as a babyface. But as a heel, his reactions, you know, the begging off, being willing to take some really nasty bumps, it's done him a world of good. Lashley is Lashley, of course, and Samoa Joe is Samoa Joe, which means both of those guys are classics. You don't have to do anything to them. The big finish comes from Ricochet hitting Lashley with a chair. As Lashley no-sold it, he chased Ricochet off, which allowed Samoa Joe to grab the coquina clutch onto Hook, and Hook submitted. So, Samoa Joe's the number one contender for the World Championship. They will be having the match at Full Gear. Then we get a lot of nonsense. You get a bunch of bums in the ring wearing wrestling boots with dressed like a chicken. Another guy dressed like a cow. Another guy is dressed like the Pillsbury Doughboy. And they called back to when Hangman Page dressed like the Pillsbury Doughboy before. So the ops attacked him and unmasked him. And it revealed a guy. A guy who had highlights in his hair. And he was of no consequence at all. So then after Samoa Joe signed the contract, then they had to have a toast. It just felt like they were dragging this thing on and on. So Tony Schiavone is outside the ring going through all of these, and for a toast for Samoa Joe as the number one contender, so a toast for the World Heavyweight Championship, a toast for the Hang Mixin. And as Samoa Joe's getting kind of aggy about this whole thing, and then behind them creeps up the Hangman, the Hang Mixin, the Hang person, who is dressed like Tony Schiavone, who is dressed like the Phantom of the Opera, which means he's only... it was absurd, okay? He reveals who he is. He kicks one of the ops in the balls. I think he might have kicked Hobbs in the balls, and he did something to the other guy, and he smashed a beer bottle over the head of Samoa Joe, hit Samoa Joe with the buckshot lariat, and left Samoa Joe laid out flat at the end of the segment. I must say, I didn't hate this. I didn't like that middle part with the guy that was dressed like the Pillsbury Doughboy and the guy who was wearing the chicken suit. He couldn't even get in the ring. Wearing a ridiculous chicken suit. And he couldn't even get in the ring. It was absurd. I'm not really a big fan of absurd Halloween costumes like giant chickens and cows and such. I'm more of a either try to be scary, try to be cool, or by God, be sexy. But I don't see a purpose in wearing a chicken suit. I just don't see who that's for. What's a cow suit for? Anyway, Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page, a rematch at Full Gear. Unless Samoa Joe wins the title, I don't see the benefit of this. So I'm going to pray that Samoa Joe wins, so I don't have to deal with the Hang Mixin anymore. That's what I'm looking at here. All right, the opening contest made me roll my eyes immediately. Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia, who I forgot existed, were defeated by Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin in some sort of no disqualification thing. Darby Allin apparently is losing the Scorpion Deathlock as a regular finisher now, and he made Wheeler Yuta submit with it. Wheeler Yuta is pathetic. He never wins. Daniel Garcia is even more pathetic. This is sad and disgusting. I don't get it. But this is connected to this bullshit that happens later as Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly fight to a double countout. Because apparently Jon Moxley's weakness is submission wrestlers. He's like a Pokemon all of a sudden. He's a brawler, so his weakness is submission, guys. So Kyle O'Reilly's arm bars and rear naked chokes, they're just too much for Jon Moxley. He doesn't know what to do. Jon Moxley actually bled in this match too, but it was by accident. So he was back to his old ways. Kyle O'Reilly put Jon Moxley in a guillotine choke outside the ring like an absolute moron and got both of them counted out. Of course, a brawl between the factions ensued as Kyle O'Reilly is a member of this conglomeration fiasco. Afterwards, Darby said that Moxley ain't suffered enough. Mark Briscoe then said for tough guys, they always running. And then said that they have an idea, to which Orange Cassidy mumbled blood and guts. I have no interest. Not only do I not like the format already, but if his level of enthusiasm is my level of enthusiasm about it, there's nothing about this that intrigues me. Not the blood, not the guts, I'm not even, you know how hard you have to work to make me not care about a cage match? They worked extremely hard to get me to not care about a cage match. I don't care about any match that's going to have Wheeler Yuta in it. Like, as soon as you tell me Wheeler Yuta is in it, I'm out. You can forget it. I don't give a damn about that guy. So, look, whatever. It's happening in 2 weeks. It's a thing that they've been talking about for a long time. They're just now getting around to it. So, the conglomeration versus the Death Riders. I mean, if that's your thing. I don't know if you can't elevate Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, two guys who look sick, into main event guys. Mark Briscoe doesn't win singles matches. He got no fronts. Who cares? Moving on. The best member of that stable can't be in the match. That's Willow. And she can't even be in the match because that's so unfortunate. Unless she can. Maybe she can. They do men and women stuff in AEW, don't they? I'm not going to even put that in the universe. They did a number one contenders fatal 4-way match. Jurassic Express, Jet Speed, FTR, and the Young Bucks. FTR won the match. The Young Bucks got a special introduction by Don Callis, which included their theme song, Pyro, and him doing the introduction, him being Don Callis. Don Callis is trying to recruit the Young Bucks, and I guess there's not enough people in the stable as it is. We have to add more people, I guess. Anyway, FTR won. Dax the Axe, which I forgot he's calling himself now. He did a superplex, I believe, of Kevin Knight onto the pile, and it looks like Kevin Knight almost broke his leg. So there's that. I mean, the rest of the match was Young Bucks, Jet Speed, Jurassic Express. You already know what it was. It was like a scene out of Jet Li's The One. Did you like that movie? I loved that movie. It was one of the craziest kung fu. It was like, Crouching Tiger, Hidden White Boys. All they do is synchronize drop kicks, synchronize moonsaults, synchronize kip-ups. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? The Chinese should sue them. The Chinese and the Mexicans, they should get together and file a class action lawsuit for cultural appropriation for all of these white boys stealing their shit. FTR won. Who cares? They're going to wrestle for the tag team titles. The FTR has never meant less in wrestling than they mean right now. Nobody else matters. Jet Speed never wins. Jurassic Express, what was the point of them beating the Young Bucks just to turn around and lose the number one contenders match? Don't know. Do I care about the Young Bucks? No, I don't care at all. Don Callis had a family summit where they revealed a new painting of Don Callis surrounded by men with no shirt. Uh, everybody in this group, most of whom El Clone, I don't know who that is. Okay, I don't know who that is. He's just a guy. Okay. The long and the short of this thing is Takeshita showed up late, as Kyle Fletcher was apparently reading the oath of the Don. There's an oath to this family. There, you have a Don Callis family oath. That's ridiculous. Okay, it's great, but it's ridiculous. Takeshita showed up. He stared down Okada. Don Callis got in between them. Said that Takeshita was his first student. They built this thing together. He said he could be the first one in, but he's going to be the last one to leave. So he wanted him to shake Okada's hand. He then demanded that he shake Okada's hand. Okada then gave Takeshita the middle finger. Takeshita was very upset, but he didn't change his facial expression at all. And then Don Callis got in between them again and said they're going to be a tag team this Saturday, which is a Fright Night Collision. This is what they said. But Halloween is the day before, which means they're probably going to tape it. Well, obviously, right? They're obviously going to tape it. Okay, I guess technically November 1st can still be Halloween-ish, I guess. I'll give it a pass. This segment was too long. I'm okay with the segment, but it was just too long. I know a lot of AEW fans were upset, said this was very WWE-ish, and that is true. It is very WWE-ish. But they're really drilling home the storyline between Takeshita and Okada. It would help if either one of these guys could speak fucking English. It would really help. But since neither one of them do, they have to just stare at each other blankly. And Don Callis, they have to look at each other aggressively. And then Don Callis has to do the rest, because neither one of these guys can really address themselves and assert themselves verbally. Okay, so Mercedes and Chris Statlander were fighting backstage. Statlander was dressed like Zamasu from Dragon Ball, which I thought was cool, or what they call Goku Black. I don't like calling people Goku Black. I don't like that word. As Statlander started getting the upper hand, Athena came out to help. She's a henchman now. Glad to see she's got a job. She put in that henchman resume and it was approved, apparently. So Athena and Mercedes, they both beat up on Chris Statlander. And then Willow Nightingale with Harley Cameron, they ran down to the ring to make the save. Apparently this match is going to happen next week, where it's going to be Athena and Mercedes versus Willow and Harley Cameron. I mean, they could sleepwalk through that match because Harley Cameron is not a threat. It sucks that Willow Nightingale is about to get kicked out of this tournament that quickly, but somebody's got to lose, and it ain't going to be Mercedes. I can tell you that much. So that's what Athena is. She's a world champion, and she's a henchman. Never seen a henchman world champion before. That's a new one. Speaking of that women's tag team thing, we got two more pieces of business. That's both of that. Sky Blue and Julia Hart defeat Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata. Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata picked this fight by winning the Fatal 4-Way last week and then called them out and lost. Who cares, though? They lost because Tekla attacked Jamie Hayter. So there's that. Queen Aminata won a match. Tony Khan had to quickly rectify that mistake. Jamie Hayter, man, boy, is she wasted in this company. It's sad. Sad times, man. I don't know. Sky Blue, Julia Hart, they ain't got nothing. You know, there's not an ounce of charisma between them. They're both good-looking girls. Just, they're stuck doing Halloween 365. So, what's the big deal? What's the big deal that they won on Halloween? They're dressed like Halloween characters all the time anyway. Penelope Ford is injured. Oh, no. What are we gonna do? Penelope Ford, she injured her thingy-ching and her army arm. So, that means that Megan Bain has to talk, which, gotta say, not used to that. Not used to that at all. Not sure if it was a good idea or not. But now she's got to find a new partner. And Marina Shafir just shows up and stares her in the face. And I was like, you couldn't have picked a worse partner. Marina Shafir? Oh. There's got to be somebody else on this roster. I mean, look under the cushions. There's got to be somebody else less than catering. Somebody got a plate and took off by now. That's got to be the case. If you ended up with Marina Shafir, somebody came in and grabbed a couple of brownies, some salad, probably some of that, probably a White Claw or two, got a hamburger or something and slid right out the back door. You need to call that person and tell her to bring her ass back here. Because this cannot be. Marina Shafir, no. How about this? Deonna Purrazzo was on social media and she kind of laughed at herself because her and Taya Valkyrie have been a tag team for over a year. And they were not put in the tournament. I didn't even think about that. It took for fans of hers to bring it to my attention that her and Taya were the Vendetta. They've been a tag team for a year. And they were not put in this tournament. And then the fans started to grumble about it. And then she dropped the bomb on us. She ain't been on Collision in a year. She's been demoted to Ring of Honor for over a year. Holy hell. My goodness. Deonna Purrazzo, I don't know what she did. What did Taya Valkyrie went and got the best shape of her life. And look at what they're doing. If Penelope Ford was hurt, I say take Megan Bayne and you do single stuff with her. And then you just replace them with Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie. I mean, that team is losing anyway. So it doesn't matter who they lose to or when they lose. They're not going to win. Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford were not going to be the tag team champions. So just replace the whole fucking team. God has given you a gift of freeing Megan Bayne from this goddamn tournament, and you decide, no, we're going to handcuff you to this tournament. And in doing so, we're going to handcuff you with one of the worst female wrestlers in the history of planet Earth. And you know what? I thought I was going to be madder because I think I mentioned this before. I thought they were going to bring in Shayna Baszler to be the partner with Marina Shafir. That's what I thought they were going to do. Like, I legit thought, because they didn't have enough women's tag teams, they would bring in Shayna Baszler to team with Marina Shafir, even if it was just temporary. I thought they were going to do that. And I was like, that actually would be smart to do because they're friends already, and Shayna Baszler is got to be known to this audience, right? You know, big reveal, something nice for the tournament. Even if Shayna doesn't sign on for a long period of time, it would be nice. But they decided not to go that route either. So Penelope Ford gets hurt, and we're now stuck with Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne. What a mistake. A comedy of errors. Outside of the main event, I will say that I didn't really care for this Dynamite. But the main event was better than I thought it was going to be. Had 3 guys in it that I actually enjoyed to watch. And then there was Hook. Remember when Hook was supposed to be next up? He's supposed to be a big deal. Better than Braun Breaker. Better than Dominic Mysterio. What happened? What took place? What occurred? That Hook got off track. I don't know. It's just another wrestling company that is scared to actually invest in a young guy. Not saying that Hook should be that guy. Not saying that Wheeler Yuta or Daniel Garcia should be that guy. Just that they should have a guy who is young and interesting and energetic and fires up the crowd and not injured. That would be nice. But all of these guys tend to be incredibly small and fragile and weak. And that leads the show to be fragile and weak. But they're all good acrobats, and that's the important thing. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.